is Lainey Wilson, and I'm going to describe to you some of the negatives that go along with social media. We all have at least one of these: an iPhone, an iPod, some kind of tablet, a computer, and if we don't have one of these, we have multiple. So they are trying to control every aspect of our lives, including every part of our youth's lives, and it's taking control of them. Parents also play a big role in protecting the child from different things that social media offers, and they need to provide different boundaries that protect their child. The addiction to social media can cause serious problems with different aspects, including distractions while working or studying. If your phone's sitting right there and you get a text message, see Instagram pop up, you're going to grab it, you're going to look. 50 minutes later, you're going to get distracted, lose track of time, and you've lost that much time to work on your homework or your project or whatever you are working on. This can also lead to less motivation because you know you're not getting as much done, so you lose the motivation to do it. Then leads to lower grades because you're not finishing your work. We are also losing face-to-face skills that are associated with the social media, and we're getting involved in the LOLs and BRBs of the texting world and the Facebook BuzzFeed quizzes and whatever is associated with that. The internet there's been multiple studies about the internet being as addicting as drugs and alcohol. According to Dr. Gerald Shiner of Birmingham, he figured out that the internet is as addicting as drugs, and posting yourself via social media gives the same satisfaction as eating or drinking. So why would you go out and tell people about yourself if you could just post on social media and get more satisfaction from it? We are also losing the skills of connection. We think that we're closer together by creating a group on Facebook and talking about what's going on, or Skyping someone from across the country, but we're actually doing the opposite. It's making us disconnect more than it is. According to an article, Children, Technology, Problems, and Preferences, students talked about the growing problem in this disconnection from technology and how it is affecting us. There's a quote from a French artist, JR. He says, "The more social media we have, the more we think we're connecting, yet we are really disconnecting." So it's a really strong quote that kind of puts it all into perspective, since we do think that we are getting more connected. Students have also started lashing out and bullying other students and cyberbullying. The students have started hurting themselves and committing suicide and other things, and that's their way of coping with it. Bullying is becoming a really growing concern, even though there have been different stories and articles and movies that bring awareness and try to protect the child from that and know how to handle it. But it still is a really big thing. Their suicide and hurting themselves is kind of featured on a website, puresite.com. It has a lot of ways of helping parents protect their child. And it features apps to look at, it features blocking techniques on how to protect your child and ways to keep them from going to different things. There's a story about a Ryan Halligan who was 13 years old when he committed suicide, and his parents had no idea why. He was a happy, popular kid, and his mom went onto his computer a few days after he committed suicide to see if there was a reason why. She logged onto his AOL IM account and figured out that there was a rumor started about him, and it was saying that he was gay, and it progressed and progressed, and it got worse and worse. And that was whenever he committed suicide that summer at 13 years old. There's also a big concern about girls praising celebrities by what they put on the internet and what they say. The video of Nash Greer and Cameron Dallas posted a video, "What guys want in a girl." And it was basically saying girls can have this, but you can't have too much of it. You have to act like this, but you can only act like it at certain times. You had to look like this, but you couldn't look like it all the time. So it was giving girls false hope on what they needed to look like. Girls believe what celebrities tell them more than they would if their parents told them. And it's just kind of a way that it is controlling their lives. there's a statistic saying that girls are more affected by this than boys are. The girls being 28% versus the boys 16%. Girls admitted to starving themselves, and once they started reporting this, the video did get removed, but there are copies of it on YouTube and Google that you can search, and they are easily accessible. There are other ways to communicate than Google and Skype. The discipline should be provided starting at a very young age, and the Kaiser Family Foundation reported that Generation M2 spends at least 8 hours a day on social media or internet, and that is more time than sleeping, school, and other activities all put together, which is kind of an astonishing fact. The American Academy of Pediatrics encourages parents to monitor their kids starting early on. And this is just a way to protect the student or your child from getting into any trouble. It just adds extra protection when they grow up. A few of the two most popular things that I found to protect your child from getting into any kind of trouble is putting the computer in a local place, like in the living room, the kitchen, dining room, something like that, so they can always be monitored, and as well as providing parental controls on it, knowing that your student won't get into that, and that's just a little more comfort that you have, knowing that they won't be getting into any trouble or any sites that they shouldn't be on. So even though we are living in a tech-savvy world nowadays, it's better to have more protection than it is to have less, especially with our students and our children. So that is it, and I hope that raised a little bit of awareness.
6:20.
Good. You both did good.
Can you cut out stuff?
Maybe.